This is Professor Neil Hamilton from the Drake University Agricultural Law Center with another episode of our series, Law for Landowners. Today the topic is 10 things you should know about how to protect water quality on your land. As we all know, water quality is an important issue and it's much in the news. It's a national issue, a state issue, but it's also a local issue. Sometimes it's possible to assume that taking care of water quality is someone else's job, but there are many things that you can do on your own land to help protect water quality. Here are 10 ideas you can consider. First, you should learn more about the issue and about the water on your land, particularly learning about your watershed. This is the physical boundary that marks where the water flows based on elevation. We all live in a watershed, but we don't know much about them sometimes. If we think about the watershed, it makes us understand where the water that comes onto our property comes from and where it goes when we leave. So if you think about the watershed, it helps you think about who else may be affected by your actions and what you can do to help protect the water quality across a larger area, your watershed. Second, you should learn about what's in your water, what's in your tile lines, or your streams, or in your well. You can do this by finding out more about the level of nutrients and other things that are in your water. This is particularly important if you, for example, drink the water from your own well. There are different ways to find out what's in your water. For example, you may be able to contact your local soil and water conservation district, and they may have a water quality testing kit that you can use to test the water in your tile line. If you drink water from your well, you should recognize that water quality can be a public health issue as well. You should consider having the quality of your water tested. For example, the state hygienic lab or perhaps the local county sanitarian can help give you information about how to accomplish one of those water quality tests. A third way to think about water quality is to get out onto the water and enjoy it. Get in a canoe and paddle the stream, or if you like to fish, get out on the pond or lake and do some fishing. When we think about using the water, it helps us appreciate what may be involved in trying to protect its quality. There are many organizations that can help you get out and enjoy using the water resources we have. One exciting way to be involved with the water is to take part in a river cleanup day. Many organizations and local communities sponsor those. That brings me to a fourth point. If you have water that flows through your property, you could consider doing your own water cleanup day. I know that each year on Sugar Creek where we live, the rains sometimes bring trash down from upstream. I like to get out in the water and help clean it up and pull those things out. That gives us an opportunity to think about how we can become directly involved in helping protect water resources. Fifth, if you're a landowner, there are other things that you can do to think about protecting water quality. For example, take an inventory of your own actions and think about how they may be affecting water quality. For example, are you planting buffer strips along your streams? Have you fenced the cattle out of the creek so they aren't knocking down the stream beds? There are many things that you can do on your own property that have the effect of helping protect water quality. If you own a home on a creek or a lake, you might also think about whether or not you really need to use all that fertilizer or those lawn chemicals. It's important for us to remember the things that we put on our land oftentimes end up in our water. The sixth point to think about is if you own farmland and you do the farming yourself, there are many ways that you can influence water quality. Do you have a nutrient management plan that determines the amount of fertilizer you use and when you apply them? Have you used things like cover crops and other practices that are designed to protect water quality? The key is, as you make the decisions about how you're farming your land, keeping protecting water quality in mind is an important consideration. The seventh point to consider is that if you do own farmland, you should think about how the public programs made available through USDA, NRCS, or through the state may be helpful in letting you have the resources and technical knowledge to be able to implement conservation and water quality practices. Programs like the Conservation Reserve Program or the EQIP, the Environmental Quality Incentives Program made available by USDA, are an important source of funds and technical assistance to help landowners do the things they want to do to protect water quality and soil health. In 2018, the Agricultural Law Center published a guide on how to use public conservation programs to help protect water quality. So consider getting a copy of the guide and thinking about how those different public programs and tools can help you achieve your goals on your land to protect water quality. An eighth point to remember is that one effective way that many landowners are finding to help learn more about protecting water quality is to join a watershed management association. You can contact the local Soil and Water Conservation District or the NRCS, for example, to find out whether a watershed group exists in your neighborhood. If it does, go check it out and see what you can learn by working with the other landowners and farmers who are in your watershed. If one doesn't exist, you might see about what it takes to actually create one of these organizations. There are many other people who farm near you and own land, and you all have similar concerns. So working together at the watershed level is an important way to try to achieve success. The ninth point to consider is that if you own land but you don't farm it yourself, this means you probably have a tenant. The question is, have you spoken to your tenant about things like water quality and protecting soil? These are subjects that you could consider, and in fact, the lease agreement could include provisions on how you would like to see water quality practices included. There's no